Superstation, the voice of Detroit.
Supreme Justice with Judge Karen.
You give men the permission to treat you poorly.
I'm very passionate about helping people, period.
It doesn't matter what you tell me. What matters is when you by yourself, what you tell you.
You can always turn your life around. If you keep walking, eventually things are going to change.
And obviously what you tell you gets you in a lot of trouble.
Supreme Justice with Judge Karen.
At 12:30 on WADL Detroit. Be sure to catch Doing the D with Alexander Zonchek right here on 910 AM Superstation.
And you know what that means? Lots of cool stuff. Hey, if you love gospel and jazz and Motown cruises and holiday festival concerts in Monroe, we've got it all right here for you.
I want to say thank you for all you do, all you give us. We, your fans, we just love you. And you know.
I appreciate that, Phyllis. Thank you so much. It's uncomfortable to get compliments to do something that you love doing so much, but I appreciate it.
The voice of Detroit, Sundays from 5 to 7 p.m.
Yeah. But I was born a champion. Yeah. Yeah. But I was born a champion.
910 AM is the gold standard for talk radio. This is Radio Our Way, the Detroit way. We're bigger and better than ever and growing daily. Constantly bringing you 50,000 watts of excitement and entertainment. We are 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. The Word Network is the largest African-American religious network in the world, and we're also the most versatile and easy to find. That's right, the Word Network isn't just a cable channel. We're an international network that brings you the best in gospel music and inspirational ministries. You can find the Word Network on Bright House Networks, Charter, Cablevision, AT&T, Cox Communications, DirecTV, Time Warner, Uverse, Verizon Fios, Roku, Google Fiber, Google Chromecast, Facebook Live, YouTube Red, Kindle Fire, Apple TV, Android and Apple devices, and even Continental, JetBlue, Frontier, and United Airlines. And coming soon to Hulu, Xbox, PlayStation, and more. No matter what device you have or where you are in the world, you can still take the Word Network with you. We are committed to making sure that finding the gospel is easy and convenient for our viewers. We are the Word Network, and we're everywhere you want us to be. We've got it all, and this is only the beginning. 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit.
Put your hands up now!
Do you have anything illegal on you?
Hands up! Get on the ground!
We charged.
He's running. He's running.
Sheriff's Department, stop!
What is that?
We energized.
Stop resisting!
Crawl towards me.
Chase him, get ready.
We loaded.
You looking for some fun?
Got him.
Hey, there's no point crying now.
All new cops reloaded. Viewer discretion advised at 3 p.m. on WADL Detroit. The 910 AM radio app is now available on iTunes, Google Play, and the Amazon App Store. And guess what? It's free. Listen to all of your radio favorites on the go. It's quick, it's easy, and it's brand new just for you. The new 910 AM radio app. Download it today. The most powerful voices in the African American community are all right here on the new 910 AM radio superstation. WFDF Farmington Hills, Detroit, 910 AM Superstation, a division of Adele Media.
Welcome back, everybody. 910 AM Superstation. This is The Pulse with Karen Dumas. I am your special host for this afternoon. Meteorologist and reporter Andrew Humphrey, WDIV Local 4. Thank you for being with us this afternoon. We've been on the air since 4 o'clock this afternoon. We talked about animal care and animal welfare first. Then we talked about Parks and Recreation and the Chandler Park Conservancy. That first hour, by the way, was with the Michigan Humane Society. Our third hour, last but not least, is all about STEM education. Some of the good news and great accomplishments that are being made by who I always say are the best and brightest students around. Those are our own students who are in our own homes, our own schools, our own communities here in Detroit and Southeast Michigan. We're talking about STEM education and all the wonderful things that go along with it. I'll have with us here for the rest of the afternoon, or the rest of the evening until 7 o'clock, Mr. Ali Bazi. He's the principal at Star International Academy over in Westland. Is that right, Mr. Bazi?
Dearborn Heights.
Oh, Dearborn Heights. Thank you very much for that correction. May I call you Ali?
Yes, please.
Also here, Michael Tucker from Square One Education Network. Is that right?
That's correct.
Good to hear you, Michael. Barb Land here, who's also with Square One Education Network.
Correct. Thank you.
And I have a teacher that's here. Teacher, go ahead and step up to that microphone. What's your name, sir, and what school?
I am Bill Grimm from Oak Park High School.
May I call you Bill?
Oh, that'd be great.
Bill, why are you here, and who are the students you brought along with you?
Well, I've been trying to incorporate engineering into the classroom, and one of the things we do is underwater robotics. And I've actually gotten in students to build many robots, and then we actually took them to competition, and I brought 4 students with me.
Fantastic. And the team is here. Team, are you here?
Yes.
Hello, team. Good to have you on the radio. You're not nervous, are you?
A little bit.
A little bit. Don't worry. You're at home right here. You're with family, all right? You're now with your adopted family here at 910 AM Superstation, okay?
Okay.
All right, fantastic. So tell the underwater robotics competition that that Bill was mentioning, that was actually put on by Square One Education Network. Is that right, Michael?
Yes, this past Saturday.
What is the name of the competition, and how did it come about?
Well, it's the underwater robotics program, and it's just been an evolution of what we at Square One have done to extend the elements of how to bring engineering into the classroom and then use it to be a mechanism for learning and then competition. In the case of the underwater program, makes it kind of a unique and a showcase for robotics.
And how'd the competition go this past weekend?
It went really well. We had, Barb, 36 schools?
32 teams.
32 teams. And, I mean, it was great. It was held out at Waterford Mott High School's pool, and it's a beautiful facility that just housed everybody and the parents and the ability to do the judging and see the parents there supporting the students, and, of course, the energy of all the students as well, from 3rd through 12th grade.
Was this a regional competition or a statewide competition?
It's just a statewide competition. Primarily anybody in the Square One organization, which could also embody some other students in the surrounding states, but primarily Michigan-based.
Barb, were you there? Were you there also?
I was, yes. I'm the operations director at the Square One Education Network. And so this was actually our 9th annual underwater innovative vehicle design competition. And so we actually had 3 divisions there. We had a junior class that was 3rd through 8th grade. We had a senior division that was 9th through 12th grade. And then we opened an advanced technology division. And so those are students who wanted to go beyond the toggle switches and wanted to have some joystick capabilities. They did some programming. They had some claws, robotic claws, that helped to participate in the underwater challenges. So the students don't get wet, just the robots do.
Gotcha. Right. Bill, what was the challenge that your students had to do?
There were 2 different challenges. The first one, what they had to do was pick up rings from the bottom of the pool, bring them up, and hang them off of a tip-up and knock the flag up. So there were 10 different rings that they wanted to bring up and hang on to the 2 different tip-ups.
Okay.
And then the other challenge was they had to basically take their ROV, drive it from the side of the pool through a 10-foot tunnel, and then on the other side of the tunnel we had an area where there were polluted species. They had to capture those species and move them over to a safe area, and then at the end of the competition go back through the tunnel in order to finish with all the points.
Fantastic. Students, how'd you do? Are you just being modest or what? Did you?
We actually did pretty good for the big piece, for the species piece. I believe that we actually did better than most of the teams that we competed against.
Yeah.
But we had a bit of a challenge with the rings because we could never get the claw to open up like we should have done. But other than the challenges, it was actually a lot of fun to compete with everybody. And then we did a drag race at the very end, which sadly we ended up getting put out the second round due to a little bit of complications.
Okay. And what's your name, sir?
Desmond.
Okay, Desmond. Thank you very much. Now, problem-solving skills like that or encountering challenges like that, that's just the nature of the competition. Isn't that right, Barb or Mike?
That's really what we love so much about the underwater IVD competition is that it provides that on-the-spot problem solving and re-engineering challenge. So the students are given 2 shots at each challenge. So they get to do it. Things didn't go quite right. They can go back, make some adjustments. They come back at it for a fresh start. And then that drag race that he mentioned, think about that. How do you build a fast ROV? How do you build this underwater robot to glide through the water quickly to the finish line?
Now, another student, introduce yourself and what did you like most about the competition or this experience?
Hi, my name is Cameron Grant, and what I liked most about the competition was that they gave us 2 chances to do each of the competition areas. So if you were to do bad on one part, you can go back and fix your remodeling and fix what's wrong with it. For us, on our competition, the first part we did it, our claw was messed up and it wasn't opening or closing during the competition. So after it ended, we went back, we problem solved, built another claw, put it on there, and then it worked the second time. So I like how they give us 2 chances to do the competition.
Great. Bill, when you see this type of excitement from your students, what goes through your mind?
One of the things is providing them with opportunities to see outside of Oak Park High School's walls and see that, the field of engineering is almost anything where you're solving problems. That's the whole goal. It's to get kids interested into going into engineering. That's really why we started the program, and we have several other things we've added on since we started it 7 years ago. And we've actually taken the program from the high school, grown it to the middle school, and now we actually even have 2 elementary schools involved in it. So, it's something that kids of all ages can get involved in.
Bill, what's your impression of the team that you brought here today?
All of these kids are great kids. They are they've changed. They're moving on to engineering for colleges. One of the students is actually a 9th grader. So he came in with an idea sort of about robotics, and we have tuned him in. We came back from the competition. He's already replanning next year's robot and everything else.
Really?
Yeah.
Whoever the 9th grader is, please get on mic, introduce yourself, and explain what you think of the robotics field now.
My name is Jamal Peace.
Hi, Jamal.
I really like robotics because there's a lot of problem solving, and I want to be a mathematician. And you really get to get your hands on with stuff. You hot glue, you get to build PCP. We drew schematics. We did 3D with Microsoft TouchUp.
Yeah.
We sketched it out in that competition. You really got to see a lot of different ROVs and a lot of different designs. So I really got a lot of different changes for next year.
Jamal, how old are you?
14.
So when you were, say, 10 years ago, when you were 4, 5, 6 years old, did you have an idea what you wanted to be? If someone were to ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up, when you were in kindergarten, what would you say?
A zookeeper. I thought animals was cool.
Okay. All right. That's a noble profession, too. And how about now?
Numbers. They really click with me, so I would like to continue trying to be a mathematician.
Fantastic. That's wonderful to hear. Barb and Michael, are those stories common when it comes to the work that you do?
Oh, they are. And in fact, he hits on a big one, is that this year we saw more, especially in the advanced area, people using 3D printed objects, adapters, trying to make changes. And the great part is that they can do the CAD design, look at what their design is going to look like, then actually fabricate it, try it out, and then they probably make some corrections and adjustments and stuff, and then they can end up recasting a new one and try it out. So now, we saw many of them using actually 3D printed claws.
What's interesting is these appear to be skills that are brand new to everyone,
right?
Students and adults alike, professionals alike. So many of these students are already getting a head start in 9th, 10th, up to 12th grade of doing adult things with STEM.
And it's other elements too. It's graphic arts. It's more than just engineering. And in fact, many of our teams have gone and done international programs and learned about the cultures and history of various areas of the world, looking for downed objects in the ocean or in the Great Lakes.
Now, the fourth of 4 members who has not been on the microphone yet, please introduce yourself. And the question is, how did you first hear about the robotics team and what motivated you to join?
Hi, my name is James Mosley.
Hey, James.
And the first thing that motivated me was actually, I think back in 6th, 7th grade.
Yeah.
I came into the middle school, and one of the teachers actually taught robotics. So one of my teachers hinted to me to go do it because I was interested in building things. So I went down there one day, and then I seen these PVC pipes, and I seen like these structures. And I was kind of curious. I was a kid. I was like, ooh, I want to build a robot. So I went down there, I made one, and I competed. And then ever since that, I just been in love with it. I mean, I've been doing it for 7 years now, and I'm motivated to do it every single year, just mainly because I like to take on the new challenges. I like to create like a new ROV to see things I can do different, things I can improve on. I also like to like spread the knowledge onto some of my friends.
Yeah.
To like get them involved into robotics. That's what I've been doing for like a few years now. I think I got like probably several of my friends, some of my good friends here, Cameron. I actually gave him the hint to actually join a few years back. And then our teacher, Mr. Green, was someone that actually got him to be into the club.
Oh, fantastic. Now, the team members that are here, the robot may not have been able to do what you wanted it to do this go round, but it sounds like most of you or all of you are going to compete next year. What are the skills or what are the things that you've learned from this year's competition that you're taking to next year? One or two things.
Well, I don't think we're going to be competing next year. Just 3 of us.
Wait, why not?
Because
what do you mean?
We're
You're
all
graduating?
seniors.
Yeah. Okay. I thought, did you bring a freshman here?
Yeah.
Okay. So to the freshman, what's your?
Way to call them out.
All right. The one that's on the bigger and better things, but still in high school. What did you learn this year that you're going to use for next year?
Next year, I realized that we need to make our ROVs more durable in order to withstand the hit from the bottom of the pool. And our motors, we need to make sure they're lined up so it doesn't drift off.
All right, Bill, does that sound good?
Yeah, he picked up a lot at the conference or at the competition, and he's really looking forward to today. He's like, can we start building today? Yeah. And the other ones they're all seniors. They're off to college, and they're like, nah, we're working on our next competition.
Well, I'm gonna follow up with that next. Now, putting seniors back on the spot. What do you plan to do next year? What colleges are you applying to, and what do you want to major in?
Well, next year I plan on attending either Academy of Art University, which is in California, or the school across the street, which is Lawrence Tech. And I plan on majoring in computer science or computer programming.
Okay.
Because I really want to get to game design, and I really want to learn to program certain things. I see it's a very big field, and I'm very interested in math. I like numbers. I like working with computers. I can't see myself doing really anything else. So that's what I see myself doing after I get out of high school.
Fantastic. Next student.
Me, like I said, I was accepted to West Virginia University, so I want.
Congratulations, West Virginia University.
Yes,
congratulations.
I actually want to pursue what.
Let's give a round of applause, everyone in here.
Congrats.
So I'm gonna go up to the mountains, and I actually want to pursue two of the biggest dreams that I've actually been doing most of my entire life, which is engineering and football. So I'm a major in engineering. I haven't decided, but I'm actually leaning towards mechanical engineering because of my love for cars.
Okay.
Which is a long story. But
how do you see yourself combining engineering with the sport of football?
Yeah,
One thing. Yeah, go ahead. I can see he's excited. He was about to talk for the next 30 to 60 minutes about it.
So with me, mechanical engineering is a lot of like football because football has to do with some mechanics inside of the human body itself. So a body sometimes works as a car running full speed. So with the knowledge of mechanics and the knowledge of football in my pocket, I can actually build a car in my perspective, like how I want it to be, and also use that to my advantage of how the body works and how I succeed more in football. So.
All right, that sounds good. All right, so you got football, biology or biomechanics, and car mechanics or automotive engineering.
Yes,
that's amazing. Wow. All right, final senior. What are you going to major in? Where are you going to school?
Well, I want to major in electrical engineering, and I want to minor in interior design. I know those two kind of don't look like they collab with each other, but there's just two things that I like designing and making things look good. Like if you see my room, you would be amazed.
Well, you have the Internet of Things, and we've always had light bulbs and electronics and electricity when it comes to interior design.
So far I got accepted to 8 schools, and the school that I loved, this has been my dream school for forever.
Yeah.
Is Lawrence Tech across the street. So that's definitely where I'm going. I got accepted to there, and I was just too happy when I got accepted. And I got accepted to Oakland University.
Yeah.
And Wayne State, and I'm waiting on Michigan State.
Okay.
But that's where I was just at today. I was on a tour, but I'm definitely leaning towards Lawrence Tech. So that's where I really want to go.
All right, let's give him a hand, everybody. Way to go. Any Michigan students? Any future Michigan students
Right
in
here.
here? Oh,
Right
good.
here.
All right. Ali Bazi's got one of his
I
students.
brought her with me.
In fact, Ali, why don't we talk about some of the efforts that you and your academy are doing with STEM and some of the achievements of your students? Why don't you go ahead?
Yeah, thank you, Andrew. First, let us say thank you. Not only are you the best meteorologist in the country, but a strong advocate of STEM, which as an educator we really, really appreciate.
My pleasure, sir.
Our program really starts at kindergarten, and we get them, trained as early as kindergarten. We have an elementary program that stems up to middle school that then really incorporates to the high school, and that feeds off to our robotics team, which, I'll have here the students talk to in a little bit. But what's unique about our program is that STEM is not only found in science. We incorporate STEM into almost every core subject area. Just the other day, one of our social studies teacher, Mr. Press, had students build a catapult to reenact the War of 1812. So you had engineering, you had mathematics, and they're graded on those components. So the hidden language behind there is that they're really doing STEM, right? We don't tell them that because, at some point you say science, people run away.
Right.
But it's a great tool, great technique. It's worked. The staff over there at Star Academy are really working very hard to really incorporate this program.
And the idea with you, especially working with students who are so young, you said down to kindergarten,
Correct,
is to try to eliminate that fear
exactly
as early as possible so they're not running away, correct?
Right, absolutely, absolutely. It's very important to really get them, even with Legos, right?
Yeah.
And building a mini robot out of Legos, and to see that, I think the accomplishment part, once it's done, they see the final piece and they feel proud of it, even as early as that, really will matriculate on until they get to middle school and high school.
And who are the students you brought? Let's start with the Michigan student first. I got to say that, everybody, because I'm a University of Michigan grad, so I got to say go blue.
Go green.
Yeah, there's Bill. There's Bill to go green. So Spartans, you're represented. And yes, Wayne State, I hear you out there also. I'm sure you're about to call in too. But congratulations to all of our graduates or soon-to-be graduates that are here. Young lady, what's your name and what grade are you in?
My name's Mahak, and I'm a senior at Star International. I accepted admission to University of Michigan Ann Arbor.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Like you guys know. But I am a member of our robotics team, like Mr. Bazzi was talking about, and I'm also the co-captain of the robotics team.
Okay.
And I think it's really interesting and related to the other team that we were talking to today, because we do have a STEM night coming up on March 24th, where we do reach out to the middle schoolers and elementary schoolers, because the robotics team is hosting the STEM night, and we basically give the awards to the students who did the science fair, and the people who won.
Go ahead.
The people who won the best awards and had the best projects do get the trophies for having the best project.
Okay.
So, and then on top of that, because we're the robotics team and we're there with the little kids, we can show them what we did with our robot, and we can show them that, hey, you guys can do this too when you're in high school. So it's not something impossible.
Is your classmate that's here, is he also on the same robotics team? Sir, go ahead and step up to the microphone. What's your name, and tell us what grade you're in?
My name is Ali Al-Fouadi, and I am in 12th grade.
Fantastic. And you're on the same robotics team, is that right?
Yes.
Now, when it comes to the robotics team and your competitions, tell us a little bit more about the competition or competitions that you participate in.
So this year's competition we're actually going to be doing is steampunk themed. So
what does that mean?
So it's supposed to be from the older times,
1700s.
The 1700s, where you have all of the brass piping, all of this piping that just makes it look steam related. There's steam going on with it.
Yeah.
And it makes it look like it's more complicated than it should be.
Almost the mechanics of a steam engine that you would see over at the Henry Ford.
Yeah, it's more complicated than it should be.
As it always is every year.
But you got to make it work, right, everybody? And that's one of the main reasons, and that's part of the challenge. Is it all about engineering, or is there a business component to this, or is there a presentation component to this?
So what I've seen so far is that it mostly is engineering related. So you build a robot to compete in these different perform these different tasks for the competition. So one of the tasks would be to take a gear and place it on a peg to make rotors spin on the top of an airship. And so another task that they would have to perform is that they would gather these fuels. They're wiffle balls, but they act as fuel. There is two places to deposit it, one top boiler, low boiler. So it varies in points. The one on top is worth 3 times. And there's also climbing a rope at the end.
Yeah.
So a rope will will be laid
The
out.
robot climbs a rope?
The robot will climb a rope by itself. So there's a rope that hangs from, I forget how high it was.
Yeah.
And you have to be able to climb the rope up to the top and to press a button. You just hit the button and you have to stay there until the end.
Now, when is the competition again for this? Or has it already happened?
The competition's running for the entire this month.
Yeah,
and-
First Robotics has started.
Okay.
Our competition is March 30th. We'll head over to Troy High School with our team, and that would be their first competition. But First has already started, and it's underway. Yes, it's complicated. There was lots of pizzas ordered, long nights.
That's the best part, right, everybody?
But it goes back to what Barb was saying about problem solving, right? It doesn't work, fix it. Okay, it doesn't measure up, fix it. You know, we always say measure twice, cut once. It's more like measure 10 times, cut 10 times. So you live and you learn, and it's a great experience, I think, for everybody. But you know, aside from robotics, again, we integrate this into our curriculum and instruction, and that's really the key here. So them coming out to a robotics team is no different than what is happening in the classroom.
How far along is your robot now? Is it able to climb the rope and press the button?
The bag day was a while ago, so yeah, we had to finish it up before then.
We're ready to go.
We're ready.
Absolutely fantastic. Ali, how long have you been principal, or how long have you been in the field of education?
Going on almost a decade now. I started as a tutorial staff paraprofessional and went into being a teacher. From teacher, never looked back to administration. It's been a long ride. You know, we learn a lot, especially from these kids. And with the generation, we adapt to, you know, practices and strategies. You know, social media we have to kind of hit into because that's the new thing now.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a nice 10 years. Lots of gray hairs, but we'll take it.
What have you found to be successful in trying to eliminate that fear and have students embrace STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math as early as possible? What are a couple of the keys to successfully getting students into those?
Well, engagement. And I think between engagement and listening, right? Listening to the feedback. What is it that you're afraid of, right? How can we get you more engaged? You know, and we talk about early childhood education. I mean, there's books and research out there showing that if you get them early enough and, you know, and engaged and into the idea of, hey, listen, this is a great opportunity for you. Use these Legos, eliminate that fear. That really would help eliminate some of that stress. And you know what? If they make a mistake, that's great. Good job.
Mhm.
You know, it's okay. We learn and then we move on.
Would you agree with that, or is there anything you want to add to that, either Barb or Mike or Bill?
Well, you know, I would add that the programs are really aligned towards pursuing engineering careers, with the objective is that they graduate and then they take on jobs in engineering. So this is really a step towards career readiness for careers that at some times have fluctuated in terms of their attractiveness, but are very popular right now, especially within Michigan. In fact, our governor has even stated that we need more talent development and workforce readiness, and our schools need to embrace this. And so he's put together a number of programs that are helping at the grade school levels to get kids into college or trade schools or community colleges, specifically with the pursuits of science, engineering, and math in mind.
Do you know of one of those programs specifically?
Well, the My STEM program is one that is being worked through the legislature right now.
And pardon me for cutting you off, just for clarification, at least for myself, these programs that you're mentioning, they're for schools or for nonprofits like yours, or both?
They're for schools.
Okay,
Yeah.
Go ahead, continue with that one.
So the intent there is, again, to make public money available to help direct it towards programs that can be built using the robotics programs we're just talking about, and also educate them on where the engineering talent needs to go in the next years, looking at things like what we're doing today with connected and autonomous vehicles already in some of our test improving situations out on the roads. We actually have cars within student classrooms today that are doing very similar things and teaching kids about vehicle-to-vehicle and vehicle-to-infrastructure communication, 3D printing, control systems, you name it. And with an ambassadorship program that helps it extend down into the lower grade levels so that they themselves start working on projects and bring an element of themselves being teachers to other students. And it makes it a whole lot easier on guys like Bill because we put together curriculum that helps build that right into the day program.
Yeah.
And the teachers are then the mentors. The best mentors around.
That's great. Bill, let's talk about parental engagement. First, students, I'm going to point to you. Let me know whether or not your mom and or dad are already a scientist or an engineer, or they're in a STEM field. Go ahead. A quick yes or no, okay?
No.
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 Wow, that was all no's. I was figuring we'd get at least one yes. I mean, since we are the car capital, at least one of them was already in some sort of science or engineering field. So let's talk about parental engagement, Bill, and same with you, Ollie.
Sure.
Because I'm sure there are many members of our audience who are not scientists or engineers by trade, but they have a child, they have a grandchild, they have a niece, nephew, or they have a cousin, and they want to get them exposed. Why is it? I'm tripping over myself. Why is it so important, or how can moms or dads or other family members out there, adult family members, get their young ones engaged in these STEM fields, and why is it important?
I think there's a lot of opportunities for parents to get their children engaged in the elementary levels all the way through high school. I mean, many of the high schools have robotics teams. Middle schools have like Lego League involved. Right. On top of that, during the summer, a lot of the universities in the area, like Oakland University and Lawrence Tech, offer summer programs whereby for a week the students can come out and I know Minecraft is huge right now. All the kids love playing Minecraft online. Yeah. So now they can actually go to the university, learn different tricks to it, et cetera, down the line, go into robotics or whatever else is involved. But getting them onto that campus and getting them involved in using their minds and getting them engaged is like the biggest opportunity we want with the kids. And usually the parents are more than supportive. I mean, I've never had a parent call me up and say, he needs to come home now. It's like, can you keep him for another hour? So that's what I love about it, is they are very supportive.
Ollie, I want to get to your opinion on this in a second, but I see that we have a caller on the line. Andy, can you hear us?
Yes, hi.
Great first name, by the way. My name's Andrew, or Andy also. Thank you very much. What city are you calling from, Andy?
Dearborn Heights.
Great. And Andy in Dearborn Heights, what's your question or comment?
Well, I just want to give a shout out to actually Mr. Bazzi and the rest of the Star family, as I am a parent at Star, and I am a proud parent. What they've done not only for our kids but for our community has been outstanding. And my son is in first grade, and he looks forward to the day that he gets to have Mr. Bazzi as his principal and be a part of that robotics team. What they're doing there is inspiring to the little ones, even the ones in first grade and in kindergarten. So as a parent, I am proud. As a community member, I'm very proud, and I want to thank them for all that they do.
Oh, Andy, thank you very much. You got Ollie blushing over here. You got him feeling very good, sir. Andy, thank you very much, and congratulations to you, your family, especially your little one, future scientist or engineer or inventor or all of the above. Thanks a lot for calling in. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, you can call in too. We got another half hour on the air. You can call 313-209-9000. 313-209-9000. This is 910 AM Superstation. We're talking about STEM and STEM education with Star International Academy, Square One Education Network, and what high school, everybody?
Oak Park High School.
Oak Park High School. We're going to be back in just a couple of minutes. Take more of your phone calls and talk about STEM. This is 910 AM Superstation, The Pulse with Karen Dumas.
From the west side, east coast.
Hey everybody, I'm Eric Church, asking you to join me in the fight against leukemia, cancer, and AIDS through the TJ Martell Foundation. Your support helps facilitate cutting-edge research that will lead to more effective treatments and save more lives. Visit tjmartell.org to learn about music's promise for a cure.
There's a cool vibe in Detroit these days. The same vibe that's at Mary Grove College. We've got great career-oriented degrees that will put you on the path to your future. On campus and online. Why not explore Mary Grove? Mark your calendar for Thursday, March 9th for our undergrad and graduate open house. You could start college this spring. We're empowering Detroit one student at a time. Go to marygrove.edu to register for the March 9th open house. Call 313-927-1240. Let us empower you. 910 AM Superstation, giving you exactly what you need by any means necessary. Thank you for calling 910 AM Superstation. What's your question or comment?
If you're going to report the news, then report the facts. I mean, let's talk about the unemployment numbers. If we really want to talk about the unemployment numbers, let's talk about the real unemployment numbers. And you're counting part-time jobs as full-time employment. I mean, there's all them little things that go in there that really it blows my mind. And I just say, are we this stupid as a country?
Line 2, Al, talk to me.
Think about it. In our society or in our community, you're not considered anything unless you're wearing a certain type of clothing, unless you're driving a certain type of car. If you don't look a certain way. Think about it. We worry more about partying than making sure our kids understand or be educated.
Call in and chime in on the conversation. Take down the number and lock us in your speed dial. It's 313-209-9000. That's 313-209-9000. The Word Network is the largest African-American religious network in the world, and we're also the most versatile and easy to find. That's right. The Word Network isn't just a cable channel. We're an international network that brings you the best in gospel music and inspirational ministries. You can find the Word Network on Bright House Networks, Charter, Cablevision, AT&T, Cox Communications, DirecTV, Time Warner, Uverse, Verizon Fios, Roku, Google Fiber, Google Chromecast, Facebook Live, YouTube Red, Kindle Fire, Apple TV, Android and Apple devices, and even Continental, JetBlue, Frontier, and United Airlines. And coming soon to Hulu, Xbox, PlayStation, and more. No matter what device you have or where you are in the world, you can still take the Word Network with you. We are committed to making sure that finding the gospel is easy and convenient for our viewers. We are the Word Network, and we're everywhere you want us to be. We've got it all, and this is only the beginning. 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit.
Put your hands up now!
Do you have anything illegal on you?
Hands up! Get on the ground!
We charged.
He's running. He's running. Sheriff's Department, stop!
What is that?
We energized.
Stop resisting!
Roll towards me. Tase him. Get ready.
We loaded.
You looking for some fun?
Got him.
Hey, there's no point crying now.
All new cops reloaded. Viewer discretion advised at 3 p.m. on WADL Detroit.
Yeah. But I was born a champion. Yeah. Yeah. But I was born a champion.
910 AM is the gold standard for talk radio. This is Radio Our Way, the Detroit way. We're bigger and better than ever and growing daily. Constantly bringing you 50,000 watts of excitement and entertainment. We are 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit. 910 AM Superstation, the best, the brightest, and the bravest voices in the urban community. Don't believe me? Just listen.
Police officers make up that are white, roughly about 86% of the cops.
Wow.
So if I get pulled over, I got 86% of the chance of getting pulled over by a white cop.
That's true, you do.
I've
That's
had
true,
my
you do.
butt beaten up. I've had my butt beaten up in California 4 times from the cops.
There are white folks who are getting the crap beat out of them as well.
I think there's a behind-the-scenes rejection of things like gay marriage becoming a Supreme Court decision. I think that's just come to the fore now.
I mean, are we that fundamentally flawed? Do you think that America sank that far into complacency to not really care? I mean, to be like, it's like, hey, man, the ship's sinking. Go get in a life raft. It is not sinking. Is it really? I mean, when you're beat over the head so much with just pure fact after fact, you cannot suspend your belief in that.
We're bringing you 50,000 watts of attitudes and opinions. We are 910 AM Superstation, the voice of Detroit.
Welcome back, everybody. This is 910 AM Superstation right here in Detroit and Southeast Michigan. You're listening to The Pulse with Karen Dumas. I'm your special host, meteorologist and reporter Andrew Humphrey from WDIV, Local 4, filling in for one of my good friends, Karen, on this wonderful show. And this half hour that's left, we're still dedicating it to STEM and STEM education. We have more than a few folks who are here in the studio with us. We have an underwater robotics team from Oak Park High School. Gentlemen, say hello.
Hey, guys.
All right. We have their teacher also, Mr. Bill Grimm. Say hi, Bill.
Hello.
We have Barb Land and Michael Tucker, who are both here from Square One Education Network. Ali Bazi, who is the principal at Star International Academy, with two of his students. Two students, go ahead and say hello.
Hello.
And Ali, the principal from Star International Academy, we were just talking in our last half hour. Oh, a reminder, everybody. Those of you out there in the listening audience, if you can hear our voices, feel free to call in, join in on this conversation. 313-209-9000. 313-209-9000. Ali, why is it important for moms and dads to get involved with STEM education, even if they're not working in STEM fields?
It's a great question. And to really jump on what Bill was saying, we just took a tally here, and not a single parent was in that field. So it's now our responsibility. I think the question we need to be asking is, did they have the same opportunity that we are offering our students now?
Mhm.
And so knowing this information, I think it's now our job as educators to make sure when they have children and they're back in here having the same video host, every hand is pulled up, right? Because now it's our responsibility to make sure that we do create scientists, engineers, and it's critical. They have to be engaged.
In your career, and same thing with you, Bill, in your career as an educator also, have you ever gotten pushback from any parents who are scared whether or not their young son or daughter can achieve something great in STEM? And what's your reaction if you hear that pushback? Ali, go ahead first.
Okay. Honestly, no, there really hasn't been any push. If anything, I mean, they've been welcoming and they're really on board. They want to see excellence and greatness, and that's really been a key component to STAR's ability to really get these academic awards, especially when it comes to science and engineering.
Would you say the same thing, Bill?
At Oak Park High School, we find the same thing. One of the things is parents are amazed at what their children can achieve. I mean, they're building machines that they never thought was possible before. And I think one of the things we find with the underwater robotics is when the kids first start the engines up, they cannot believe it themselves. They are so excited that it actually works. And from that point on, I can't tell them anything because they own the machine, which is great. I can or sort of advise, but they know what's going on.
It's like it's alive.
Yeah, exactly. And at that point, the kids take over, and it's no longer what Mr. Grimm has us doing. It's this is our robot.
Right.
Yeah.
I got
ownership.
Barb and Michael, an organization like Square One Education Network, you're there as a help, as a supplement to education systems and to parents. Why is that help needed, and how do you complement parents and teachers?
Well, and for instance, the Square One Education Network is a Michigan-based foundation. We're a 501c3. We've actually been working here in the state of Michigan and the surrounding states, Ohio, Indiana, and Illinois, since 1994. And what we've always been striving to do is to support those schools that were under-resourced, where there was a teacher who was hungry to bring something exciting and engaging to their students. You know, these kids could learn about Ohm's law, and they could learn how to make a circuit, and they could learn about buoyancy on a worksheet, I guess. But is that really going to capture them? Is that really going to make sure that they're there in those seats every day? And no, it's not. So that's why the Square One Education Network has always been actively looking for that next cool thing, that thing that's going to be innovative and intriguing, and it's going to capture their imaginations and inspire them to make sure that they are in those seats every day, and they're excited to get their hands on it and really have that learning sink in.
Do parents and schools come to you, or do you go to them, or is it somehow a two-way street?
A little bit of a two-way street. We're very actively engaged in the mobility industry. We can imagine that, as we're right here in Metro Detroit. And so we attend a lot of professional conferences and trade shows through the automotive industry. We also are at a lot of the educational conferences and community-type events. So people see what we're doing, and almost always the response is, how do I get this in my kid's school? That is always what they want. And, you know, and the underwater robotics is just one of the things that we offer. We have a whole host of vehicle-based engineering challenges. And so those are all open. We started with them about 10 years ago. We had 5 teams in one challenge. And that has now grown. We have 4 challenges, and we'll host about 90 teams for this year around the state. And we're really only limited by what financially we're able to support.
Okay.
So certainly we go looking for new schools to participate. They find us, corporate partners find us, and we just keep, spreading the good word.
And Michael and Ollie, when that question comes up, how do I get this into my school when it's showcased somewhere, whether it's at a conference or it's just through word of mouth, what is the answer that both of you may have?
Well, I think for us at Square One, we rely a lot on the word being spread among the schools too.
Mm-hmm.
They're the best carriers because they have the energy. So what was just described here is the energy of the students to really get them motivated. And guys like Bill, they're proud of their teams, and they spread the word to other teachers, other school districts around the state. And maybe they're just a guest. We had at the Underwater a number of just visiting teachers that would come back, and they would just say, to Barb's point, how do I get them engaged into this program? And so, there's pretty much more of a formalized process for going through the grant approval side of this for monetary. But pretty much any school that wants to get involved in this in Michigan can do that.
And how do they contact Square One if they want to?
Well, the best way is through our website, Square One Education Network,
okay.
At squareonenetwork.org.
Mm-hmm.
And there they'll have all the contact information right there about how to get a hold of us, as well as they can see all of the competitive programs in the IVD programs, the autonomous programs, and the underwater programs as well.
Okay. And Ollie, as principal at Star International Academy, I'm sure we just witnessed it through one of the callers in here who's a proud parent. Great news about what you're doing and you and your team are doing with STEM, including the students must be spreading like wildfire also. Mm-hmm. So do you ever experience either parents or other educators from outside of your academy coming to you and say, how do we replicate this at our place?
Absolutely. One of our big showcases, STEM Night, and we do invite the parents, we do invite the community over to the school. They get to see the programs, and you'll see many teachers from other districts, wow, this is great. What are you guys doing? I said, this is the 101. I mean, we haven't even gotten to really the dinner, so to say, to use that methodology, but having those programs, having that open night, the curriculum night, allowing parents to come in, allowing the community to come in, they get to see what it is that we have. Our academic speaks for itself. Star was awarded multiple academic awards this year alone, being #1 by Mackinac City Public Policy, took in #1 with the CAF value for academic achievement. So all of this really connects and comes together. And we have parents who call in, we have emails, but mostly we want to physically see them, right? It's one thing to shake a hand. Hi, I'm so-and-so. These are our students. We just raised $8 million in scholarships. This is what we do. And so those nights, having STEM night, having honors night, really speaks to what it is that we can offer. And of course, parents can go on our website and see all the information. So it's good to see.
And what I've noticed here, not only through my work over at Channel 4 and covering wonderful students and educators like yourselves and all the fantastic competitions, me being a STEM geek myself, there's really something to be said about STEM and STEM-related projects and STEM education really connecting people of diverse backgrounds and from different communities. Students, have you met each other before or not?
No.
Exactly. And notice, for those of you, of course, you're in the radio listening audience, we have one school that's from Oak Park, another one from Dearborn Heights. We have a mixture. We have at least one female student that's in here. The rest, yes, they happen to be young men, but they're from still other diverse backgrounds. Ollie, Michael, Barb, and Bill, can you emphasize the point, or what have you noticed over the past few years or the past decade or so about not just STEM education within schools, but when schools talk to other schools, or there are competitions, whether it's robotics competitions or other types of competitions, how those act to bring members of different communities together, and how is that beneficial?
Well, there's two elements to that, Andrew. I think, for one, what's changed big time is many of these programs used to be after-school programs.
Correct.
And to Ali's point is that we've now taken these engineering concepts and applied them actually into the classroom with many diverse elements, and you get much more participation. You start that energy going, and if they make it part of the day-to-day project work, it's not considered something adjunct to the education program. It's integrated right into the program. And I know from judging some of the robotics teams this weekend, Many of the schools, they're like, let's say, 5 members on a team. The most impressive side of this is that many cases it was 1 male and 4 females. So that's a big, big change.
Yeah.
Not that every team was that way.
Yeah.
But it's very obvious today that engineering is hot for ladies as well too. Yeah.
Would you agree also, Bill and Barb?
Definitely. I've watched that growth over these last several years, and certainly the particular project that these kids were on the teams for, that underwater innovative vehicle design, we actually now see more than half of those students coming to that competition are female. We have a large number of students from both urban and rural communities. So we're really seeing a lot of that building, and I think that's very important. That's critical to moving those numbers forward.
And Bill, how long have you been an educator?
20 years.
Has it always been in science or
always
or
in
math?
science? Always at Oak Park High School.
Oh,
God bless.
Fantastic! Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you very much for your dedication, sir. On the same topic, what about linking to other members of the community outside of Oak Park?
What's really good about it is you get that teacher network after all those years of teaching. So a good friend of mine is down in Melvindale. In Melvindale High School and Oak Park High School are like 2 peas in a pod. We have a team from across the state at Ecotech, and he basically, we're always competing against each other in the drag race. So it's one of those fun competitions, where the students look at the competition to solve, and they work as teams between the schools and everything else. So the students are united against the competition, and that's what makes it fun for the kids.
Oh, terrific! It's the new football or basketball rivalry that goes on.
There you go. Exactly.
Fantastic. Oh, I see we have some more callers on the line. Joe, can we take some callers? We can. Terrific. Let's go with Rawan first. Rawan, can you hear us?
Yep, I can hear you.
Am I pronouncing your name correctly?
Yep, it's Rowan.
Great. Where are you calling from, and what's your question?
Well, I'm calling from Star International Academy. I'm a student from Star International Academy, and I just like to say that Mr. Bezzi, he put a lot of dedication, and I'm extremely proud of our school, how much dedication, how much effort they put into the robotics team. And I'm just, honestly, they're basically our role models. Being a 10th grader, seeing all, like, the time, staying till 10 o'clock at night, wasting their time, and just, honestly, it's very mesmerizing, and seeing all this happen daily, how they stay in the robotics team as a family, making the whole school unite, basically.
Congratulations, Rawan. Rawan, stay on the phone. What grade are you in? You said 10th grade?
10th grade. Yep, 10th grade.
And what do you want to be when you grow up?
I actually want to be an anesthesiologist.
Anesthesiologist. How about that? Way to go. You have your sights set on any colleges yet?
Ann Arbor, that's your answer.
Exactly.
Rawan, you're a good listener. I'll say that. And congratulations on your wonderful work over at Star Academy. Thank you very much for your phone call, and congratulations in advance on your STEM career, too. Let's go to our next caller. Aliasiri, did I pronounce that correctly?
Yes, Zaliasiri.
Thank you very much for calling in. Where are you calling in from, and what do you have to say, or what's your question?
Hi, my name is Mrs. Zaliasiri. I have 4 children at the Center National Academy. I'm a parent who is very proud and happy to have 4 children at Center National Academy. And I would like to say that one of my daughters, who is a 6th grader, she is going to participate at the science fair as a finalist. All of that is, we have to say thank you to Mr. Bezzi and his awesome team, because he's doing really great for the school.
Thank you very much for calling in. Congratulations again, Ollie. Come on, Oak Park. You got to call in. You got to say kudos to Bill. No, Bill's fine in here. He's got 4 cheerleaders who are part of the robotics team where they just competed. If you're just joining us, everybody, we're talking about STEM education. We have a robotics team here. They competed in an underwater robotics competition this last weekend. And we have 2 students that are here from Star International Academy on robotics teams, and also excited about other STEM fields. From the students, basic question for you. Is science cool?
Yes, it is.
Is science cool, Star Academy?
Yeah.
Very.
Has it always been cool? Think back to when you were in elementary school, K through 6. Was it cool then? And the correct answer is an honest answer, okay? Okay? So back when you were K through 6, was it cool then? Same to the Star students.
K through 6, science wasn't really my strongest subject. It was actually math, but in 6th grade, I had a science teacher, and she actually taught us the scientific method in a cool way, and that's when I actually got interested in science for real.
Elementary school. Other Oak Park students, was it a similar experience for you?
I've always loved science because I'm a more hands-on person. Like, I'm not a visual or audio learner. Like, I like doing stuff hands-on, like give me a set of instructions and I got you.
Were you ever made fun of for that when you were a little kid or not?
No, admired because they always cheat off me.
Allegedly, all right? Students from Star Academy, how about you?
Science.
When you were little kids?
Science has always been my favorite subject. I mean, I always had some of the best teachers for my science classes.
And you, young lady?
Same here. I've always loved science, and the reason I really got into robotics is because as a little kid, I used to dream of being like an evil scientist.
Allegedly. But now?
Now, I've kind of changed directions. I want to go into pre-med instead of like robotics, but I'm still really passionate about it.
Fantastic. I was thinking about Frankenstein there with pre-med and being a doctor. The adults that are in here once again, Michael, Barr, Bill, or Ollie, when you hear stories like this about either realizing now how cool science is, it's not like the so-called old days with pocket protectors, taping eyeglasses together, being called a nerd and shoved into lockers. When you hear, it sounds like there's a generational or societal change. Do you agree with that? And what's your take on it?
It's working. That's what we know, because what we're doing now is really working. It's reaching out to this next generation of students, and it's great to hear this, right? We need future doctors, we need future engineers, and to say that a lot are going into this field now means we are doing something right.
All right.
I would definitely agree, and I think the opportunities that the kids have are so much broader than maybe what we all had in science class back when we were little. They're doing such exciting things, the robotics, everything in the mobility industry. Those are all really exciting things. So I definitely think it's moving forward where it is cool. Whether it's the Facebook and the Googles and all of that kind of stuff that's helping to lead to that.
Yeah.
But I definitely think that's the path it's on.
Yeah, I think what's changed big time from when I pursued engineering is that you might have had a family member, a neighbor that was really involved in the automotive industry and part of engineering, and they became your single point mentor. Today, we can't really do that very well, or we didn't do it all that well back then. The teachers themselves are the mentors to get things going, and as Bill mentioned earlier, once it starts going, the energy is in the classroom, so that mentors actually become students who help other students, whether it's in their same group or, as we heard from the team from Dearborn Heights, is that they collaborate using tools via the web, and they reach out using resources around the world to help them better develop and design their particular competitive products.
Bill, would you say the same thing? I mean, being an educator for 20 years, you've been in the school every day during a school year for 20 years. Have you seen a shift over the course of 2 decades?
Yes, I have. I've seen it now, whereby the olden days where you hand out the worksheet, the mimeograph, et cetera, down the line, they're over and done. Kids want to be engaged. Kids' attention spans, unless they're involved, aren't as long as they were before. I mean, a lot of it has to do with their phones and technology and everything else where it's moving along. However, if you can take that technology and bring it into the classroom and use like Google SketchUp or use Google App Inventor from MIT, where you have students actually developing their own apps in it. I mean, we've had kids engaged in the underwater robotics who now come back to actually judge the underwater robotics competition, where this past weekend we had a student who's now with Chrysler come back and give back to the community.
Awesome.
We had 2 kids, one's going to Oakland University, both of them are juniors, and one's going to Western, come back and judge for the up and coming kids. So that's one of the biggest things I really like, where
That's
it's coming
great.
full circle and the kids are giving back.
Oh, fantastic. And finally, I think that's an important point too. Students, yes or no? You look forward to giving back as you get older, yes or no?
Yes.
Fantastic. Well, students from Oak Park High School, including Bill, their teacher, Barb Land, and Michael Tucker from Square One Education Network, thanks for joining us. Ali Bazi, principal over at Star International Academy, and the two students from there, thank you for joining us as well, talking all about STEM, everybody. And thank you again to 910 AM Superstation for inviting me to guest host. This is The Pulse with Karen Dumas. Have a wonderful evening, everyone.
AM Superstation.